Good afternoon, friend. Once again, it's Prashant Ajmera here, going live on YouTube channel, ajmeralaw.com/live. You can go there and look at this my live channel as well and live broadcast. So what we are going to do for the next 10 days, we're going to talk about the immigration to Canada in half an hour, 20 minutes to 30-minute sessions on each day. And we're going to talk about the rules and regulations of the each province in Canada. So that will give you a specific idea that what are the rules for each province or each states in Canada are there for immigration. Study abroad, immigrations, business immigrations, job offers, skilled worker, express entries, PR, whatever you want to talk about, we're going to talk not in general about Canada, but each day we're going to talk about the one province after the another. So let me just give you a background about myself. Many of you are already aware of me, but I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm involved with the Canadian immigration practice since last 25 plus years. I'm a Canadian citizen. My family is in Canada. My three children are studying right now in Canada. I immigrated to Canada in 1993-4, and after that, I continue my immigration practice in Canada. And since then, I've been doing the immigration work. Right now, we do not only the Canadian immigrations, but US immigrations, business immigration to European countries, Caribbean countries, Australia, New Zealand, and whatnot. So that's briefly about myself. Also, I have published one book, Millionaires on the Move, which is specifically related to the business immigration. Also, we have, I'm in the process of publishing the another book, which is known as the How to Plan for Your Child's Foreign Education. Because when I lived in India in the last few years, more in India than in Canada, I realized that there is a lot of bad information is going out there in the market, particularly with respect to study abroad and study in Canada. And that's why I thought of putting up this small book together for the benefit of the parents and children to get them the right and honest and correct information about the study abroad. So how to plan for your child's foreign education in 2020 is my next book coming up. Was supposed to get published this week. It didn't get published this week because of the coronavirus, but it will get published in next month or so, as and when the things get normal. So let's start with in general about the study abroad and few tips which I always like to give to people about when you are thinking of studying abroad. A few things you should keep it in mind is always very important to note down, whether you are going to Canada or any other country. After 12 standard, if you wish to study abroad, then only do it if money is not a problem, because 4 years of an education and in a university in Canada, America, Australia, or in any country, it could be very, very expensive. So you need to give a consideration to that one, and probably you would like to look at the other option. The number two, do not think that if you study abroad, you're going to get an immigration automatically, you're going to get the job easily, and your life is set. So these are the three things you have to remember when you're doing for study abroad. Also, when you study abroad, immigration means when you study abroad, that is not the only way to settle abroad. There are many more ways are there. For example, skilled worker migration, business immigrations, immigrations to study in a right college or in universities. So you make sure that you get your immigration. So this is what we're going to talk about it. Many students comes and ask me, or parents are coming and ask me, where do we do our IELTS test? So I always advise them that do an IELTS test at the education institute where they are not doing the student visa work. If they are doing the student visa work, they do not study there. Also, few things you have to keep it in mind or understand the distinction between the two or three things. One is the university master's degree is not same as PGDBM, post-graduation diploma. Understand, university and college is not same in Canada or in any country. So see the distinction between the two. Immigration agents and consultants in India are not regulated. So before you go to them, make sure that you person is reliable, because there is no way to file a complaint except to go to a police if something goes wrong. Number four, uh, student visa is not the only way to settle in a foreign country. Uh, the better way to do that is probably in immigration, business immigrations, probably study in a way that it will convert into an immigrations. Before you go to study anything in a foreign country, make sure and find out how you're going to get an immigration after that. What is the demand of your occupation in that country? It's very important to understand that if there is no demand of your occupation in that country, then you're not going to get an immigration. And you have to make it sure for Canada, for Australia, for New Zealand, or you will have a hard time to get a job. So these are the basic things to keep it in mind. Remember, immigration consultant or agents are not your best friends. They are not there to give you an advice. They are working on basis of the commission given to them by a college from foreign country. So the fees which you are paying to the uh, college or universities, these agents are getting commission out of that. And because of that, they have no interest in giving a right advice to you. Their interest is only from where they can make a maximum commission out of it. When your child goes to Canada or Australia or out of India, you feel very happy. Oh, in a very cheap way, in a very reasonable fees, my son is now in foreign country. But within a few months or 6 months or 1 year, they started realizing that all the advice and everything which was given by this immigration agent and consultants were a bad advice. So you have to be very, very careful before what you do for study abroad. So that being said, let's now move on to the Canadian study and then immigration. So today what I'm going to talk about is first of all the education system of Canada, or what is Canada is about. Canada is a very large country. It's a the size of India, 3 times bigger than India. There are 10 provinces or 10 states are there and 3 territories. And the education system in Canada is a state government responsibilities, like what we have it in India. It's a state government responsibilities. So the government of Canada has an education department, but then they have given a responsibility to the state government. So in every state, there are universities are there and the colleges are there, which is licensed and regulated by the respective provincial or a state government of Canada. So that's why you have a different rules and regulations for it when it comes to an education in different states, because each state is taking care of their own education system. Now, when it comes to the Canada, in Canada, you have a two type of an education system. Across India, we see always an education is that 1 to 12, and then 3 years of bachelor's or 4 years of bachelor's, and then master's degree, and then you have a PhD. In Canada, you have a two system. In the 9 provinces, except Quebec, they have a British type of system, whereby you have a 12 year of an education, 4 years of bachelor's degree, a master's and a PhD. But also after the 12th, it is possible to do a bachelor, I mean diploma courses, what we call it here a polytechnic in engineering. It's in a similar way in Canada, it is possible to do a diploma or a certificate in all kinds of an education, whether it's a management, whether it's a commerce, arts, liberal arts, science, engineering. In all these areas, it is possible to do education like as if you are doing education in India at a polytechnic colleges. Like say for many students in India, do not get a good marks in 10th or 12th, so they cannot get an admission into an engineering degree course, and then they do the diploma. In Canada, in any subjects, in any area, if you do not get a good marks or good grades, or if you do not wish to study into a university, you can go to these colleges, which is similar to our polytechnic. And remember, These are the colleges, these are the polytechnics of Canada are coming to in India to recruit the students. They are not the university, and they are not fully or partially funded by the government of Canada. They are more like a private. There are some of them very big colleges are there, but they are not funded by the government. And that's why, in order to recruit the students or to get the more students, they are allowed to go all over the world to get the students. And similarly, to get the students in India, these colleges are appointing agents all over the place. And when they've appointed an agents, they are paying them a commission out of the fees what you are paying it to them. And these agents and consultants are interested in sending your child to only those places and those colleges where they are going to get a more maximum commission. It's like an insurance policy in India. We have an experience that many of the insurance companies, agents, are trying to sell your general insurance or car insurance or a health insurance or medical insurance only where they are going to make more commission. Similarly, these colleges are represented are all over India are there, and they are. I don't think that they are interested in giving a good advice to you, to your children, but they want to send your child to a college where they're going to make a maximum commission. They have no interest, I believe, in giving a good advice to your children. So be careful what you're doing. So these colleges are there. When we are talking about the education institute, after 12th, you can go to these colleges where you, if you do a 1 year of course, it is called the certificate program. If you do the 2 years of program, it is called diploma. If you do the 3 years of program, it is called advanced diploma. So generally, the students in India are going for this 2 years or 3 years diploma or advanced diploma purely to see that it's cheaper than university, and their intake is like a 3 or 4 times in a year. September intake, January intake, April intake. So they are in a rush to go to these colleges. I have seen number of websites in India by the agents where they have mentioned these colleges under the category of university and giving a wrong and incorrect informations to parents and children that there is this particular college is in Canada, which is under the university. So you believe or parents believe that my children is going to a university in Toronto. I'll give you a very example of a Humber College. On a one particularly big website of shiksha.com, it was classified that university in Toronto. And when I look at the university under the Toronto, it mentioned Humber College. It's not a university. Why it is coming under the category of university? Probably either they don't know or they are giving a wrong information. But the information was wrong. Every college or university where you are going to study, particularly college when you are going to study, make sure that are you going to a university? Are they awarding you a degree or a post-graduation diploma? Because in Canada, when you finish your any level of your educations, they call it that I have graduated. And then once you have graduated, they talk about it that, okay, after 6 standards, if you pass, oh, my son has graduated from primary. When you finish your 12th, the parents will say, oh, my child has graduated from the high school. So the using the terms, the graduation and post-graduation is very used in a different way in Canada than in India. So parent has to keep it in mind that what kind of education institute you are going to study. So there are universities are there and colleges are there. You have to keep it in mind that you go to a university. My personal advice would be that if you are going to study in Canada, first preference would be go to university. It will cost you a little bit more, but you should go to a university. And many a time what happens is that the children wants to go to where their friends are going. particularly in Toronto and Vancouver area. And when they go to the Vancouver or Toronto area, because their friends are there. Now, the parents cannot afford an university education, and probably they want to send their children to a colleges. Do not make your decision based on that one. Probably you want to go to a college, to a university, probably in Atlantic provinces or Manitoba or in Saskatchewan or other province, where the university fees would be a little bit less, but your first choice should be always to go to a university, whether it's Canada, whether it's America, whether it's Australia, New Zealand, or any country in the world. Your first choice should be always university, university, and university. Because when it comes to an immigration, you will get appoints only when you are studying into a university, not for a college or not for the private courses. So that should be your first priority to look at it. The other aspect to look at it when it comes to study in Canada is that the course which you are going to study and what you're going to become after that. There is a government websites are there given by the Department of Labor in Canada, given by the Statistics Canada, and even by the Immigration Canada. They give you an outlook of particular occupation. You don't have to ask anybody. You can go yourself on an internet and find out that if I'm going to become a mechanical engineer and do a bachelor's degree, or I have done bachelor's degree in India and I'm going to do a master's degree in Canada, what are the prospects of my job? The first question or second question parent comes and asks me is that साहब मेरे बच्चों का ये पढ़ने जाएगा तो उसका भविष्य क्या है? Obviously, every parents would like to know, but you do not have to ask us, or you do not have to ask the immigration agent or consultant. The government of Canada has provided this information on their websites. On several websites are there. One is again Statistic Canada, Department of Labor, Immigration Canada, and another website is cici.ca.ca websites, and they've given an outlook of every occupations. They've given information about that whether the license is required in this particular program or course or not. Also, you would like to see when you're going to study particular programs or particular course in Canada, that in which province there is a shortage of that kind of worker. That is also available on the government websites, and you can find it from Department of Labor's website, that what are the shortage of the worker in that particular state. Even not only the state, but the area wise or county wise, you have data is available. So you can find out, or you can come to know that which are the occupations which are in shortage in Canada. Just do not think that you are going to Canada and you're going to study certain programs or certain educations and then your life will be set. Particularly medical professions, do not go to study in Canada. Law graduates, do not go and study into Canada. I will talk about all these things afterwards. But when it comes to a licensing professions, Canada is one of the toughest jurisdictions to get a license. It is very, very difficult to get a license. So if your occupation needs a license in that country, do not think about coming to Canada, because you will have a really hard time to get your license. And if you don't have a license, you will be as good as 12th pass in Canada, irrespective of whether you have a one bachelor's or master's or double master's. So when it comes to a licensing occupation, make sure and find out that how you're going to get a license in that country or in Canada. And also you're going to get your immigrations in that country. So these are the general aspects which we have to keep it in mind. Also, when you study at the college, because I'm bringing that point again and again, say for example, you come back to India, you could not get an immigration. Go and ask any employer in Canada that if you have studied for 2 years in a college in Canada, would they give you a better salary? Would they give you some additional benefits? I don't think so. So what it is going to achieve? So you have to plan, first of all, get the maximum information about study in Canada. Number one. Number two, do you need a license in that country? Do you need, how are you going to get your immigration? What is the demand of your occupation in that country? What is the demand in future, and what kind of salary you're going to get it? All these aspects should be considered before you get on to get and study abroad, and particularly study in Canada. If you do not have these answers, you're going to have a very big difficulties in getting an immigration into Canada. Because remember, since last 28 years I'm involved in this business, the rules and regulations of Canada hasn't changed. But it is becoming tougher and tougher. People find it because more and more people are applying. So the rules are certain selection criteria, government has to take it higher. Because when I started my practice in 1993, the government of Canada wished to take the same number of people. But as more and more people are applying from India, from China, and other parts of the world, the government has to increase their bar so they can select only those 3 lakhs people. And because of that, people find that the immigration to Canada is becoming a tough. It's not tough. It's one of the easiest immigration policy in the world, provided you have gone to a right immigration lawyer and not an agent or a consultant, and you have get the right information, and you can obtain. The Canada is the only country in the world which is taking the highest number of immigrants by professional or selection, even bigger than America. Because in America, you can have only 120,000 H1 visa green card per year. Whereas the Canada is taking almost 3 lakhs, 300,000 immigrants per year. It's bigger than Australia. It's more than New Zealand, or UK, and even America. So if you put all this English-speaking country to combine, Canada is taking more immigrants than anybody else. So do not remain under that impression that the immigration to Canada is difficult. It's not difficult, provided you are dedicated to do the work, what is necessary, that you need to, you are ready to follow the process. That's number one. Number two, you are either getting an information by yourself or you are going to an immigration lawyer, particularly in Canada, to get the right information about your plan. Because these immigration lawyers are charging certain fees, the parents and children go to these consultants and agents, and they are like dime a dozen all over India. And because you do not wish to pay, parents do not wish to pay initial fees for their consultancy services, you are getting in the trap of the immigration agent and consultant. So you have to be very careful when it comes to study abroad, get the right information. And that's why I have tried to arrange now 10 days seminars continuously for next 10 days. So every day, I'm going to do it at 10:30, 11:30 in the morning. You can go to our website page, ajmeralaw.com/live, ajmeralaw.com/live, and you can see our YouTube channel page every day. And every day I'm going to talk about each province of Canada, starting tomorrow with the federal immigration program. The next day we're going to talk about the British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. So these are the 10 provinces I'm going to cover in 10 days, in between time of 20-25 minutes to 30 minutes. So please go out and tell your friends, your relatives, and whoever is interested, they can get on to the YouTube live channel of Ajmera Law Group and listen to all these things. I'm trying to give you as much information as possible, as honestly as possible, which I have been doing it since last 20 years. Before you leave this channel, please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, number one. Number two, please give your views and comments on each and every one of the video. Number three, if you have any questions or if you would like me to cover any particular point or if you have a particular situations, please send a message to me or on the comments, and I'll be more than happy to cover in my particular sessions for another any 10 days. After this one, the idea is that after this 10 days, I'm going to look at these certain college and universities and review them as per my opinion, that what are kind of these universities and colleges are there. Because not only that I'm an advisor, and advising as an immigration lawyer, as an Indian lawyer. But my three children are studying right now in Canada. One is in Waterloo University, one is in Concordia University, and daughter has just finished the master's and she's studying for the government of Canada. Obviously, they are Canadian citizens, but they are studying there. So I have gone through this process personally, and that's why I'm in a position to answer all your questions and what you have it as a legal advisor and as a personal advisor. Thank you very much, guys. I've already taken 26 minutes of your time. I'll see you tomorrow, Sunday, on 12th of April at 11:30 a.m. in the morning on YouTube Live. And the link is www.ajmeralaw.com/live. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.